Welcome, Fernanda, Pinto-Pro, and Nick Tuchin, two students I had the honor of working with as you helped me understand why we should consider changing the Columbus Day holiday to Indigenous Peoples Day. I want to really begin by asking, where did this idea come from in the first place? Nick?
So my mom, who's indigenous to South America, I wanted to know more about that because she was adopted, so I didn't really know much about the culture. And as I started to learn about it, I learned about Christopher Columbus and what he did to the indigenous people of this America. And I just thought it needed to change and that we shouldn't be celebrating someone who did that.
And at about the same time, Fernanda, you also had that idea.
Yeah, I guess this idea kind of sparked after I saw that during one of the Black Lives Matter protests in June of 2020, someone beheaded the statue of Christopher Columbus in Boston, and it kind of got me to thinking. My mom is from Spain, and Christopher Columbus sailed for the Spanish flag, and I always kind of took pride in that until I realized the atrocities that he committed, and simply I just don't think that he's someone that we should be celebrating.
In renaming the holiday from Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, some folks might think that we're disparaging Italian Americans, and yet in my conversations with you, that's really not at all what this is about. This is about a man and honoring that legacy of what happened to the indigenous people then. Is that true for you, Nick? Is that where it comes from?
Yes, 100%. We do not mean to take away anything from Italians, more so to kind of enhance the celebration of the indigenous peoples.
And highlight
Yes.
Their legacy, their lives, and frankly, what happened to them. And in some ways continues to happen to them in this country. So, Fernanda, what was it like for you to be working on this with Nick and going in front of the school committee because you had to do all that to have this changed?
Well, Dr. G was the one that connected Nick and I to each other. We didn't know each other at all before this process. And to be honest, it was a little nerve-wracking, I feel like, going in front of the school committee, especially on TV. But it was also really exciting. It just felt like it was something that had to be done, especially in a town, in a school district like Needham Public Schools that prides itself on inclusivity. And so, yeah, it was an amazing opportunity, and I'm really glad that Nick and I had the chance to speak about something that I think a lot of people agree with.
I think a lot of people have thought about this, and you both ended up taking action on it. Nick, you had to do some writing, you had to do some preparation. What was that all like for you?
It was a little difficult. I did a lot of reading about what happened. I wanted to get actual resources, but it felt I don't know how to explain it. Nice to just finally get it off my chest and write it to you and just wait for your response.
Well, and it was my pleasure to be able to get to know both of you and let you know that, well, now you're going to have to go in front of the school committee. It's not my decision to make about the school calendar, and you'll have to advocate, do some research, advocate, and explain how this will work. And of course, we all know it took many months. I think we connected in June or July, and this all happened through April. So it was a long process that you were both involved in. You really persisted. Your voice was clear, and that's really powerful, and that's what we expect, really, of our students. So, Nick, have you had a chance to talk to any of any students or teachers about Indigenous Peoples Day and your involvement in changing the name of the holiday in Needham?
Yes, definitely. So first of all my friends, I talked to all of them about this, and past teachers from 8th grade. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. E, or Mr. Eskovitz from 7th grade. He was big inspiration for me to do this. He talked about it to our class. But yeah, definitely a lot of my friends and a lot of my past teachers.
Is it seventh or maybe it's eighth grade where Christopher Columbus goes on trial at Pollard? I mean, did you participate in that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And so where were you in that trial?
I think I was against him. I'm not positive.
Okay, all right. Now, Fernanda, you also, as you were investigating this and doing research, you connected with students to ask for their opinions and also with staff. What did you learn from that?
So Nick and I created a Google form where basically we want to gauge the opinions of both students at the Needham High School in Pollard as well as the staff. And basically we asked, would you support the change of Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day? And an overwhelming majority in both the teachers and the student survey section said yes. I think for teachers, it was somewhere around like 90% maybe, and then for students, it was like 83%. And we also got the benefit of, we had like a comment section where people could like free write their ideas, and a lot of people talked about how having Indigenous Peoples Day would make them feel more welcome and a more inclusive community and environment.
And since the school committee has voted this into the calendar, and it is now the name of the school holiday, did you hear anything from your family? What did they say to you, or friends about that actually happening and that vote happening?
My cousin Caroline, she's been a long supporter of me. For years she's been telling me to do this. So she was very happy to find out that it passed. And my whole family has just been very supportive of me and like wanting me to follow through this.
Yeah, I agree. My family has been very supportive of me and almost hyping me up, I guess. And my friends were some of the first people that filled out the survey because I sent it out to them and I asked them to share their honest opinions. So.
Well, again, your voices really were very powerful to me, and I know to the school committee because they took this vote, and that's really what I'm hoping that we can encourage in the Needham Public Schools. Student voice, doing research, and advocating for a position I think is important. So, as we think about Indigenous Peoples Day, which is coming up soon, what are some things that you want your fellow classmates and the community to know about Indigenous Peoples Day? What are some messages?
I think one of the most important things is really just educating yourself because, historically in the United States, we've had this, whitewashed version of history that Christopher Columbus was this hero that, saved Indigenous peoples, and that's just not the case at all. This was a fully formed civilization, and actually the group that Columbus and his men encountered were the Taino people. And I would just really encourage people to use the sources, either that you can find on the internet or provided by the library at your public school, and just, really try and grasp the core foundation of this movement.
What are some things you want your fellow students to know about Indigenous Peoples Day, Nick?
I think it's really important to know what you're celebrating and why you're celebrating it, and to just like Fernanda said, to really keep yourself educated on what you're doing.
And I guess I would say I would want our community to know that student voice is important and critical as we work together to make sure that we have an equitable, inclusive school community, and we have to be thinking about all people, not just a man. In this case, the Indigenous people who were part of this country this land for so many thousands of years and continue to be here. Well, to Nick, to Fernanda, happy Indigenous Peoples Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.